In peace, I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4 is traditionally seen as an evening prayer, likely written during a challenging period in David's life when he faced opposition or betrayal. In this psalm, David calls out to God for relief and protection, expressing both his frustrations with adversaries and his unwavering faith. Despite his external challenges, he concludes with a statement of peace and trust, highlighting his confidence in God's protection. In peace, the Hebrew word here, shalom, implies more than just the absence of conflict. It represents wholeness, harmony, and well-being. David is expressing a sense of inner completeness, a spiritual and emotional calm that transcends his circumstances. I will lie down and sleep. David can lie down and sleep because of his faith. Sleep, in this context, is an act of surrender and trust. Instead of worrying about potential harm or unresolved challenges, he chooses to rest, placing his concerns into God's hands. For you alone, David acknowledges that his security comes solely from God, not from his own power, resources, or allies. This demonstrates his understanding that ultimate protection is not found in earthly things, but in God's presence. Make me dwell in safety. The phrase indicates a sense of divine protection. The Hebrew word for dwell, betach, conveys the idea of a secure settlement. David feels safe enough to let his guard down, relying fully on God to shield him from harm. Trust and dependency on God. David's security is rooted entirely in God, showing a level of spiritual maturity. Instead of dwelling on his fears, he surrenders his worries and trusts in God's promises. Inner peace amid uncertainty. The verse speaks to an inner peace that does not rely on outward circumstances. David's confidence in God allows him to experience calmness and peace, despite whatever challenges he faces. Surrender and rest in faith. The act of sleeping represents total surrender. David's trust allows him to rest, knowing that God is vigilant and sovereign over all his troubles. Psalm 4:8 teaches us that genuine peace and rest come not from ideal circumstances, but from a deep trust in God. Here are ways to apply this verse today. Peace through prayer. Like David, we can bring our concerns to God and find peace through prayer. Presenting our anxieties and trusting God to handle them allows us to release our worries. Confidence in God's sovereignty. This verse reminds us that God watches over us even while we sleep. Our efforts and vigilance can only go so far. Ultimate security comes from resting in His care. Practicing trust as a habit. David cultivated a lifestyle of trusting God through both trials and triumphs. By learning to trust God with small concerns daily, we prepare ourselves to rely on Him for peace during significant challenges. Psalm 4:8 encapsulates the comfort that God's presence provides. It assures us that when we place our faith in Him, we can find a peace that allows us to truly rest, knowing we are held securely in His care